Hey, so I'm listening to the radio, and it was talking about the new Kroger, I think, the new Kroger uniforms, and how they're firing people who don't want to wear them, even though they offer to buy their own. But the reason they don't want to wear it is because it supports LGBT plus things, the community. But yet, it says that, oh, we don't discriminate. How is that not? What if it's against my religion? What if it's against my belief system? So they're going to fire perfectly good working people because they don't want to wear something that supports something they don't believe. It's like having somebody who doesn't believe in abortion wear a t-shirt that supports abortion, or vice versa. It's like getting somebody who doesn't want Planned Parenthood to shut down and making them wear t-shirts that says, "Hey, shut it down." That's not right. If these people have a right to stand up for what they're proud for, then I think straight people should be able to stand up and be proud. I don't think that they should get a say if we have a job or not because we don't want to wear a gay pride heart on our uniform. Some people would just quit at the first thing, like, "Oh, you want us to wear that? No, I'm not doing it." But some people are trying to work with the company and say, "Hey, I don't support this, but I'll buy my own apron if you'll let me. I don't support it, but can I do something different? Because I still want to work for you. I still want to help your company. I still want to be employed by you." And yet, people won't let that happen. Okay, put it in perspective. Let's say you're working at a store, and obviously right now everyone has to wear masks when they go to work. But let's say someone wore a gay pride mask, okay? Let's say someone wore a mask that supported that, but they weren't allowed to, and they were told to take it off. But it was fine if people wore Christian masks or masks that went against abortion, masks that went against the LGBT community. There would be an absolute uproar. There would be an absolute uproar. It'd be all over the media. People would be rioting. People would be fighting. People would wear things to prove a point. Do you know how wrong that is? That now it is against the rules to wear what you believe in. I don't support the LGBT community. Listen, I love you as a person. I don't support your life choices. I'm friends with a lot of people that are in that community and that live that lifestyle. I don't support it. I support them. That doesn't mean that I'm okay with their choices. That simply means I tell them, "Hey, I believe that this is wrong. I'm still going to be your friend. I'm still going to talk to you, but you should not be living this way because it's wrong." Now, it would be different if I completely cut every single person off that was like that. But like I just said, I don't. And for those people that I do, that's up to you. That's your choice. I'm tired of seeing the world and the culture of this world take over. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of just sitting back and watching things happen. The church needs to stand up and do something. There needs to be a revival. The church is not the church anymore. not like what it was intended to be. People are too soft. People get offended too easily. They called you a name. I'm sorry, but suck it up. Because there's a lot worse things gonna be happening in the future to us Christians, than name calling. In other countries, people are getting beheaded. People are getting raped and murdered and shot and hung. People are getting tortured for what they believe in. But at the slightest bit of anything that comes against us here in America, we fold. And that's not right. People in other countries have greater faith than we have here. People in other countries. Why? Because they struggle. We have it so easy here in America. It has made us soft. And eventually, I believe that it's going to get to the point here in America where things are going to start to tip that way, where things are going to get harder, more persecution is going to happen. People are talking about the Muslims who are getting persecuted in other countries, but what about the Christians? What about the Christian lives being lost? And I'm not saying that people who are Muslim don't matter any less. I believe all lives matter equally. All lives matter equally. If you're alive, you were put here on this earth for a purpose. Everyone is born with a purpose. Even if your parents say that you were an accident, you're here for a purpose because God put you here. And people are so hopeless. People are so lost because they don't know that. They don't see that, and they don't believe that. People are hopeless. They think they're ugly. God knitted you in the womb with his hands. He created you to be the person that you are, the person that you look like. Yes, everybody battles things. Everybody has hang-ups. But that's why we trust in God. That's why we rely on God. That's why we get in the Word, because it renews our mind and it changes us to be the person that God made us to be in the first place. No, we'll never reach perfection. I'm not there, but I've left. And no, I'm not calling myself perfect by any stretch. We need to stand up and start doing something. Because if we don't, soon enough, it's going to be illegal to have church. It's going to be illegal to try to speak God's name. People are already censoring things on social media just by posting hopeful things, by posting Bible verses, by posting things about healings and miracles that are happening and revivals that are happening. And they're calling it fake news. I didn't mean to spook you, I'm sorry. They're calling it fake news. And yet, the world is full of fake news. If everybody was honest and truthful and kind, this world would be so much better. This world would be so different. But people are greedy, they're lustful, they're deceitful, they're selfish. And there's always going to be that in the world because the world is fallen. We're called to be different. Christians are called to be different. If people look at you and they don't see that you're different from everybody else, then there's something wrong with that. If people look at you, if people talk with you and hang out with you, and they don't even know that you're a Christian, then something is wrong because you're supposed to be living different, listening to different music, watching different movies and TV shows, hanging out with different people, going to different places than these worldly people. We're not supposed to go to strip clubs and bars. We're not supposed to get drunk. And yet people do. And that's part of the reason that and religion. When people get religious, that's what pushes people away from God. Because it's not about religion, it's about relationship. Having that relationship with God. We need to stop going to church just to go to church. We need to stop going to church for the appearance. We need to stop going to church for the coffee. We need to stop going to church because it makes you feel good. We need to stop going to church for the fellowship, to see people that we don't see unless we go. If we go to church and nothing happens, if we go to church and we don't see someone saved, it's not worth it. If we go to church, if we gather together for church and we don't feel the presence of God, then we're not doing our jobs right. If we go to church and miracles aren't happening, then we are doing our jobs wrong. We're not doing our jobs right, people, and we need to get with it. We need to get on it. We need to get with the program. We need to bring God back. We need to bring God back into church. We need to bring God back into our relationships. We need to bring God back into our marriages. We need to bring God back into our families, back into our schools, back into our governments. It was the moment they took God out of everything that things started falling apart. Did you notice that? They took God out of schools. The churches are the ones who started the schools. The churches are the ones who started jails. And now, when you go to jail, you leave worse than when you went in. You go to school and you hear about pornography. People get bullied. People commit suicide. People are under so much stress. It's not worth it. It's not. As soon as we handed everything over, things went downhill. Because God wasn't in it. Things stopped prospering. There wasn't peace. There was chaos. When you take God out of the equation, all you have is the evil. You have the darkness. You have the hate and the greed and the selfishness. You have the people who will murder and shoot up their schools. When my dad was younger, people took guns to schools and they were just in the back of their trucks. They were in their lockers, for Pete's sakes. There wasn't school shootings then. Things are bad now because people have so much hate in their hearts. Why? Because there's a lack of God. There's a lack of love, a lack of peace, a lack of self-worth. There is now regret and anxiety and hatred. There is now bitterness. People don't forgive now. One thing happens. Oh, they're gone forever. When we are called to forgive, we are called to love. We are called to give second chances. No matter how many times that we've been hurt. We have been called. We are supposed to be ambassadors of God, and yet we are not. If somebody comes up to you with a problem, and all you say is, "Oh, I'm so sorry," pray for them, for Pete's sakes. Pray for them. Ask them if you can pray for them. Bring God into the situation. Don't just give pity on people. Don't just feel sympathy for people. Feel compassion. Compassion moves. Empathy and sympathy just sits back and watches. We need to step up. We need to rise up, and we need to stop playing games because the devil isn't. While we've been going to sleep, while we've been lethargic, while we've been sitting back and let the world and the culture take over, Satan has been working in this culture, in this world, and in our minds. The world and the culture have influenced the church more than the church has influenced the culture in the world. Why? Because it's easy. Because we want to fit in. Because we don't want to make anyone angry. Oh, we don't want to offend. Who cares? Who cares? All Jesus spoke was the truth. All Jesus had was love, and he was persecuted. He was killed for our sins. He was killed so we could live peaceful. He was killed so we could see miracles happen. He was killed so we could see demons cast out of people. He was killed so we could see people delivered. He was killed so we can have the presence of God. The resurrection power living on the inside of us. We've been living less than that. We have not been living the lives that God died for, that Jesus died for. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to start living that life that Jesus has died for. I'm done sitting back and watching things happen. I'm done sitting back and feeling bad if I offend somebody. Because other people aren't. People who live worldly, they don't care if they offend you. They don't care if they hurt your feelings. They don't care if they make your day awful. They don't care if they sit back and cuss at you. They don't care if they take God's name in vain and gossip and tell you all the dirty things they did with their boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. They don't care. So why should we? Why should we care? Why should we feel like we have to apologize for telling them the truth, that living that way is wrong, that going out and drinking and partying is wrong, but you love them anyway? Share the love of God with people. Don't just condemn people. Don't get religious on people. That pushes them away. You love them and you create an environment that you can open up doorways. You can open up an environment. You can create an environment that welcomes discussion, that welcomes the brokenhearted to open up to you and talk to you and share things with you. I've seen it happen. You can minister to people that way, but you can't minister to people yelling at them, telling them they're going to go to hell, standing on a street corner. That's not how you minister to people. You talk to them. There's a reason why Jesus sat with tax collectors and sinners, because you have to talk to them. You have to talk to unbelievers in order to minister to them. Oh, great idea, right? Not a lot of people do that. Or if they do, they join them in whatever bad thing they're doing. Oh, we're smoking pot later. Do you want to join us? Sure, I don't see the harm in it. We have lost our balance. We have been shifted off of our axis. It's about time that changes.